Hi, I'm making this video to talk about the trauma that I endured, and there's going to be a trigger warning, so I'm going to be talking about extreme gender-based violence and SEXUAL violence. So that's my warning. So basically, I was being molested by my own father, and my mom didn't care and do anything to protect me when I was a child. And then when I was 14, I had a best friend who had an adult brother who was graping me in the basement. And then when I was 14, I was gang raped. And when I was 15, and those were both unconscious grapes. I was also dirty graped and given diseases and stuff. So it was violent and brutal. I've also been SODIMIZED, which is really horrific and painful experience too. And then when I was 16, I was SEX trafficked by a gang member who's no longer alive. He was unalived. And then I was drugged and raped at a bar in the VIP section when I was like in my early 20s. And then basically just kept happening. And then I did meet the father of my children when I was 17, and then he did the same thing to me for 20 years. So, and what bothers me is that people are shocked. They don't understand that, my children are loved, but a lot of people don't understand that, like, if there's a young woman, if a woman is having multiple babies with a man that is a criminal and doesn't provide for his children, that she's probably trapped, and he's probably her handler, and he's probably using grape manipulation for this to continue. And it's also like in slave days where a black woman would start having babies at 14, and then by 20 they have 5 kids. Well, and I'm not saying all, but this can be a symptom of grape. And I'm just really frustrated of people saying like, oh, like they act like I'm the poster child for domestic violence, like as if, and narcissistic abuse, like as if there's not other victims out there, and they act surprised. Like I remember I was talking to a guy and I was like, oh, that's now my boyfriend's gonna grape me again. And he was like, what did you say? Everybody acts surprised. And then people are always like, oh, like even the system was used against me. Oh, well, we know she was raped once. And it was like, I wasn't just raped once. I've been raped since I was 6 years old. So it's like they act like, oh, it's no problem, just kill your abuser. They don't actually say that, but if you do, you'll go to prison. But then they shame you for being abused. But then when you call the police, they turn it back around on you and then abuse you and go after your kids. And these are all the things that I experienced. I'm sorry I had to pause that because my child came in here. But I just wanted to say that that when I was drugged and SA'd at the bar, it was another gang SA. I think there was 3 men. The memories came back years later. I was on the dance floor. It was really awful. My boyfriend set me up, and of course he would, because he also abused me, and then he let his cousin do the same thing to me. I was drunk, and my friend, who at the time I didn't know she was a sociopath, but she left me at the bar with this guy who was a predator on purpose, because she would do stuff like that because she thought it was fun and funny. It was awful, and we're no longer friends. But it's just something that, like, I needed to say. Like, what bothers me is, like, I was made fun of. Like, even this guy, well, he also abused me, and another one of his family members. But he was like making fun of me because I was saying, oh, what if this guy will hurt me or kidnap me? I've been kidnapped. My daughter's been kidnapped by this other guy that I used to date. He kicked in the door. I kicked in my door, And when I pound on the neighbor's door, they didn't help me. And he was charged with second-degree kidnapping. And so basically, like, I just wanted to get on here and say, and I was diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder and borderline personality disorder. So I'll do another video about that. But basically, it has to do with childhood trauma. And what bothers me is, like, people act like if you have dissociative identity disorder, you're like, it's like over dramatic and sensationalized. And I'll do another video about that, but I have like an angry alter, a fury alter, and stuff like that. But this is like, it's like you can't tell when you're talking to me. Like, if I take some pictures, you can see, but I'll just be spaced out. But it's not like this theatrical big production of, like, you know, I'm dressing in all different clothes. I do have like an alter that likes to dress up and stuff and things like that, but the way that it's like portrayed on the internet is like over dramatized, even though, like, I know some people with DID, it is that dramatic for them, but for me, you can't tell. And what bothers me is, like, everyone's always, like, I overheard my neighbor talking about this lady who drunk herself to death because she was sick. She was SA'd. And she drunk herself to death, which I knew another girl that did that. I didn't know her, but I knew her boyfriend who also was torturing her, who did the same thing to me. And so, like, this, it's just very common, and I feel like sex trafficking is really common, and it's really sad that, like, I have to, you know, make a video about this. And, well, I want to, because God told me to make a video to put my story out there, but it's just really frustrating for me. Like, I've been fighting for SSI now for 8 years, and I have another lawyer. This is my third lawyer. This is the fourth time, and it's just really hard and painful experience to realize that, hey, like, you know, I've been severely abused my whole life. And the other thing is, you can see that my jaw is swollen here. I have to crack it. My baby's dad, he unhinged my jaw and almost broke my jaw when he assaulted me. And I have like over 50 videos of him abusing me. I have like pictures, and the state didn't do anything. The police never did anything. And I was watching this documentary about, it was about, I don't know if I can say this, but it was about PIMPS and PROSTITUTES. And I was reading the comments, and the guy that was interviewing some of the women that were working, one of them said, "No, I can't do this interview. You'll get me killed. I'm a kidnap victim." And people were like, "Why don't you go to the police?" And I thought that was funny, because the police don't help you. And in fact, they, for Black women, because my dad is from Trinidad and Tobago. My mom is white American. But for Black women, or biracial Black women like myself, or mixed race Black women like myself, I'm also Native and Chinese and Spanish. They actually know that in America, the police won't do anything because of my race. So I've said this in another video. I was denied a permanent restraining order. They went after my children. I fought CPS for years, and this was all because they wanted to punish me because my baby's dad was arrested outside of my apartment and make it seem like this was his apartment. And it was awful. And it was like, that's why I saw a psychologist who did this exam where it was proven that I have dissociative identity disorder. And I can talk about that in another video. But I just wanted to get on here and highlight the trauma that I went through before I turned 18 and before I turned 25. This is why I, unfortunately, because I was being polypharmed to death by my psychiatrist, this is why I was demonized, and I didn't know I had, demons. And and everybody does. I'm still working on that, and but Jesus saved me, praise God. But the thing about that is that's why I had a suicide attempt when I was 26, and thank God it failed. But since then, my son's dad, he died 4 years ago, and his death was traumatic, and it just really hurts me still. And I don't have anybody, and like whenever I try to get close to somebody, they're like, oh, haha, yeah, like, oh yeah, we know. I mean, I know that you were like brutalized and I couldn't help you. Oh, do you want to party? And it's like, no, you don't get to, like, you don't get to skim over that. You don't get to say, it's like every guy that I ever talk to, whether they claim they're a Christian or not, they always go into like treating me like a doll or a sex object. And it's like, you don't, like, you're talking, like, I'm so angry because like I have children, and it says in the Bible that fellow Christians should take care of widows and orphans, and like my children are orphans. And guys try to talk to me, they don't even say like, I'm gonna take care of your kids, like I'll be a father to your kids. And I don't want anything that this world has to offer. I was praying for a Christian husband, and I know it says that God says that single women and single men are precious, but I was under a singleness curse, and it started with my father, and it started with SA abuse when I was a child, and my father is not sorry. He's not sorry. That's why I don't talk to him. I haven't talked to him in 8 years, and I'm not talking to him. Not even when he's dying. I'm a Christian, and I stand against abusive children and abusive women. And I'm tired of men like being like, oh yeah, well, I know you were abused, but like, let's talk about something. Like, you don't know, you don't know, and you don't care, and you're an abuser like the rest of them. So it's just something that's been on my heart, and I just hope that this video can help somebody, specifically a young woman or woman that's going through abuse, that thinks that they can't make it, that they can. Because I used to pray to God to deliver me, and he did. I wanted to clarify, because I don't really have time to edit and redo videos, even though I have to redo a lot of videos and delete some and stuff. My page is just a mess. I don't know what I'm doing. I have to like redo it. But I just wanted to clarify that my oldest child is not an orphan, because she's an adult now. And I can't say anything more about that right now. But I didn't mean to say that all of my children are orphans. I was talking about my second born child, because I can't have a relationship with him because of parental alienation that my ex did, and my mother also does too, and that's kind of the reason why I don't have a relationship with my oldest as well. But what I was trying to say was that my younger children are fatherless. And I tell them, like, God is your father, right? But it doesn't take away the pain that my younger children are fatherless, and I don't have a father for them, an earth father for them. I don't have someone that I can marry today and then they'll be the father to my children. And like I said in the second video, but I'll just edit it to be one video, my firstborn son's dad died 4 years ago. And but I have the same, all my other children have the same father, but my firstborn son sees my other children's father as his father, and he basically raised him because his biological father wasn't there because he had children with other women, and so did the father of my other children. But what bothers me is like men are always like, oh, so you have 5 baby dads, and it's like so disrespectful. It's so disrespectful, and even if you do, it's none of their business to judge that person. But it just irritates me because it's like there's always some guy or troll like talking crap about me, but then like they're always trying to smear my character or my name. Like the whole time I was going through the CPS case, the social worker was sorry, I had to help my daughter. So basically the social worker who has since retired, and she was like, oh, are you homeless? And it was so disrespectful because I've had my own place since I was 19. And it doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean that I wasn't abused. It's like people have these set ideas in their mind of like, because I'm attractive, I've had a great life or something. It's just crazy. That's why it says in the Bible, don't judge with it, because when you judge somebody, you'll be judged with the same measure, because it's like you don't know. Like I see a lot of comments online about like, oh, post-traumatic stress disorder. They say like people with it are terrible people, and like they'll say like, oh, it was traumatic, I'm gonna have PTSD from being in rush hour traffic or something. And like it's not something to joke about. It makes you tired. Like it's a physical manifestation of trauma. It's not something like and then to add stigma to people that have it, that already feel ostracized and stigmatized by the society, but then they're already suffering. It's an injury because you literally, your mind and your body can't cope with severe repeated trauma to where you think you're gonna die. And I think I forgot to add, when I was 18, I was staying with a guy. Well, I think did I say about, because I might have said that him and his friend drugged and raped me and this other woman, but I think I forgot to say that he also locked me in the room, and when his friends would come over, he would say, you can go in there and do whatever you want. And I completely disassociated. I didn't remember. Obviously I was SA'd, and I don't know how violent or not it was. Some of them I know were violent, but it's really frustrates me that people, like I said before, are surprised. And so I just pray that if there's any woman going through abuse, that you don't feel alone, and that you know that God cares and loves you, because I'm suffering, and like I don't want this for my children. I don't want to pass this trauma on to them, and I know that they have suffered, but I'm breaking this curse, because I'm tired of going through this, and I'm tired of people, like the stuff that's on the internet now is so disrespectful and insensitive to people that have this, like to act like somebody that has DID or dissociative identity disorder is crazy, is just awful. It's literally God protecting your core identity. So parts of your personality had to break off in order to survive. And it's the way that it's worded, it's like disorder. It makes it seem like there's something wrong with the person. Like there's something wrong with someone that has PTSD. And it's not that there's something wrong. Yeah, there's something wrong with them. They have trauma, but God can help them. But it's like what's out there is like, it's hopeless. You can never get better. Like I've healed most of my symptoms from borderline personality disorder, like the abandonment issues and like the self-harm and the reckless behavior and stuff like that. I don't do any of that stuff, but you would never find this online. It's like they always want to, I feel like the devil might play into this too, and it's also the secular thing where it's like they act like you can never get better, but I don't want to minimize it. I don't want to minimize the effect that childhood trauma, being invalidated and having an emotionally unavailable mother and a narcissistic mother and an abusive father, or vice versa, one abusive parent or both. I don't want to minimize the effect on somebody, but I just wanted to raise awareness, and because it's horrible to live like this, but I don't want people, like I don't want people to feel sorry for me. I just want there to be more awareness that like, hey, like I'm in America and it's violent for women, and the culture and the violence against women and children is so entrenched. And what bothers me is the racism, where it's like, because I'm half Black and it's like I see a lot of white people, and Black people do this too, but I don't live around a lot of Black people, where it's like they want to act like every woman that says that they're abused when they're Black or brown is a liar. And it's so wrong, because if you're that ignorant to not understand like socioeconomics, like slavery and how it affects people's now and generational curses, and why the devil attacks the 12 tribes of Israelite, and why the devil hates women, and why women are being brutalized. And I just really don't appreciate some men being like, oh, well, you know, why do you always talk about being abused? Because I was severely abused, and I almost lost my life, and I lost my career, and I've been riddled with living in poverty for 20 years. It's like it's like they just want, it's like I feel like abusers and certain men, they want you to be quiet, and it's just it's a red flag. Any person that's trying to quiet something that happened to you that's wrong. And I'm very upset about it, and I'm also very upset about Black and brown women, African American women, and Native women being targeted for crimes and murder. And oops, I guess I can't say that, but hi, I had to get back on here, and I didn't like do my makeup or anything because I only had a little bit of time while my baby was napping and my daughter's watching PBS Kids. But I wanted to say that if I repeat some things that happened to me, please forgive me, because I'm trying to like have a more organized page and do like a video for each topic. Like I know I did how I got dissociative identity disorder, but like I don't remember what I said in it because I can't keep rewatching it because it's really triggering. So this one, I don't know what the title will be for this one, but then I need to do another one for like how I got borderline personality disorder and stuff like that. So it's like more streamlined and like organized. But so I just want to say, please forgive me if I repeat the same thing. And I can't really spend a lot of time editing. So I wasn't even going to make a video for a while because I've been doing paperwork to keep my housing, which I have to do every year, and stuff like that. I have to do a lot of paperwork, and so God's really putting me in a season where I'm like in the cave, so to speak, and just totally isolated. But so I'm trying to persevere. So, but I was watching another channel that has to do with trauma, and I just really wanted to talk about my life story in regards to those traumatic things. But then I sort of went off on a tangent on a few things, so I'm not sure what to title it. Anyways, thanks for watching my video, and leave any comments down below, and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.